So Naomi has started to attract to her some people around an idea. Now let's just hear what the proposal is, the focus. What's the summary of the focus?
Okay. The idea was, in my current job, my manager has been approached by someone working for Tourism Auckland. I work for the National Institute of Creative Arts and Industries, and we've been approached as part of a collective in Auckland to look at a communication campaign problem around the Rugby World Cup for 2011. Now, the problem is that a lot of people would like to come to New Zealand for the Rugby World Cup, but they're influenced by their wives and girlfriends who may not be huge rugby fans and so don't want to invest the family fortune into coming to the other side of the world, to New Zealand. So the problem is, how do you put together a communication campaign to attract the WAGs, the wives and girlfriends, to come to New Zealand for the Rugby World Cup? So we'll be looking at things like arts and culture and shopping tours and just sort of, that would be our problem, to come up with a communication campaign and using Edward de Bono's techniques to address the problem and come up with a campaign to solve the problem. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So that's the proposal, and when I was first introduced to that proposal, I thought, yeah, that's a definite yes. That was a very exciting proposal. It's one significant economic issue to New Zealand. It's also, I suspect, a big potential challenge to bring out to New Zealand these people that are not interested. I had, by an extraordinary stroke of synchronicity, I went to my first ever rugby match in about 30 years, just a couple of weeks ago, and exactly as you're suggesting, the women spent all the time kind of chatting, and I did as well because I wasn't much interested. And the guys stormed off and went to some other benches to watch seriously this rugby. So I can see there's a definite need for what you want to do. Okay. So you've just in talking, since we talked before, you've now attracted a team of people to work with you.
Yes.
Okay. So what do you think you'll start on now with?
We've already started brainstorming and about sort of the different aspects in terms of thinking about the practicalities and how to address the assignment with our artefact, and then sort of there's the two parts to the assignment. So we're brainstorming about ideas of how to put something together where everyone can contribute as a group, and then sort of talking about our availability to meet as a group to start to work on it, and just working up the timetable and stuff. And then I think our next step will be to meet as a group and sort of brainstorm, and in the meantime do some reading and try and think of which Edward de Bono techniques to apply to our campaign, and start from there.
Right. It's a big issue. It's a big challenge. It's worth looking at the whole big challenge to start off with.
Yeah.
At some time, fairly early on, you may want to chunk down into some smaller bits that you take forward. It's more important to work on a smaller bit and demonstrate excellence in that small bit, rather than whatever. By another extraordinary coincidence, you happen to know the person who established the tourism cluster in the Waitakere region. She developed all those posters, the wine tours, the art tours, things like that, and that person is Becky Coleman. And she was doing that before she came to Unitec to do her Masters of Business and then over to IAG. So she's worked with a lot of these small out west tourist operations out there, and she ran a company called Red Feather Expeditions, primarily on a very, very narrow focus. Americans and secondly, relatively upper middle class, wealthy Americans, boutique design tours, sometimes alumni, things from universities, things like that. So she would welcome an approach for you to work on this issue. And she too happened to go along to this rugby match as well, so she at least understands it as well. Yeah. Okay. Are there some questions you'd like to ask the audience here? Get some immediate feedback from people.
Yeah, for anyone here who's not a big rugby fan, if your partner wanted to, or a sports fan in general, if your partner was interested in a certain type of sport and wanted to travel to another place halfway across the world, what sort of things would you be interested in seeing?
You can pay.
What was that?
Shopping.
What was that?
The actual players, the whole players.
So like promotion of players,
Yeah.
would that kind of
But
get
a
you?
hot calendar.
Yeah, like
players.
getting invested in the players.
Or
not
like a
necessarily
function
just
with
sport.
them.
Yeah,
It's rugby.
But like, if your boyfriend was paying, then it's kind of different because
Yeah.
it's like, why would you not want to go on free trips? Like,
Yeah, but if you're in
You can
a
have a joint account.
joint account,
Yeah.
you know, you want to have a family holiday, or your partner wants to, just, you know, your boyfriend wants to.
Would that kind of
But
get
a
you?
hot